Starting on all fours, you're gonna get your hands under your shoulders, feel all your fingers in the ground, and then I want you to push the ground away and try to really separate your back ribs or create space without crunching at the sternum. You might get a little pelvic tuck under you. And then every time you breathe in through your nose, just imagine that you're breathing in between your shoulder blades into those low ribs and creating some expansion there. And every time you breathe out, it's like a long sigh, fogging up a mirror glass for as long as you can until you feel those front ribs close just a little bit. And then once you have them closed, you're gonna try to leave them that way for the next inhale. So inhale goes into your back, in between your shoulder blades. You're actively pushing the ground away. You're making sure you're not crunching. It's like your whole body is far away from the floor. And then the exhale closes the front. We're just gonna do a few cycles of breath here. Expansion, separating back ribs, keeping everything far from the floor. Prolonged exhale to get all that air out and close the front ribs. Then you're gonna time your breath with your movement. So staying far away from the floor, the next time you exhale, you're gonna flex your spine globally at the same time and smoothly into a cat. And the next time you inhale deeply through your nose, you're gonna extend your spine and bring the points in the back together. And then just go back and forth at your own pace. Just trying to stay far off the ground and not bringing your shoulder blades together as you extend down and open your sternum or lengthen your sternum up and forward. So just creating more movement through the rib cage. Next time you flex, I want you to stay flexed. Do your best to get most of the movement from the rib cage. Your low back will go with it a little bit. But now you're going to shift your entire rib cage over to the right slightly, and you're going to open up those ribs. So think of dropping your left shoulder. So your weight has gone to the right and opened up to the right, and while you're there, you're then gonna extend down to the floor. So we're about to do a rotational cat-cow. Now that you've extended down, you're gonna shift your rib cage to the left, open up the left ribs, and then press back into a flexed upper back, and then keep going in that same direction. So really moving through full extension, flexion of your upper back while also shifting weight over and opening up the side ribs. Wherever you are in that rotation, let's go the opposite direction. Still use those long exhales to get those very bottom ribs to close. Get more of the movement from the upper back, finish your rotation. We'll take a wrist break, so we're gonna go into tall kneeling. A lot of the positions today are gonna be working on opening up the front of your hips. So you wanna feel your glutes squeeze, hips open in the front, everything stays nice and stacked. Elbows are bent 90 degrees, and then I want you to trace circles with your wrists, watching that your forearms don't move, avoiding pinches, just going at a consistent, moderate tension rotation. Go the other direction. Now you're gonna go close fists, and you're gonna do the same thing. Forearms still stay still. Switch directions. Nice. Okay, back to all fours. And then now we're gonna do a segmental cat-cow. So you're in the same position, get an active reach without rounding, and then the segmental cat-cow is like a wave. So the next time you move your spine, you're just tipping your pelvis, like your belt buckle's moving away from you, you're arching the lowest segment of your low back, and then I want you to just move one segment at a time with control all the way up your spine, feeling the muscles fire just in that area, so you're lengthening your front line, shortening the back. Everyone's gonna go at a different pace, but when you get to full extension, you should feel it's fired equally and moved equally throughout. And then you tuck your pelvis, just your pelvis, and then round one segment at a time. So you can do a small wave, like it doesn't have to be a really big wave. The important thing is the control and the smoothness of the wave. Trying to make sure that they all contribute. You don't want to feel any one segment hinging or working too hard. Pretend there's a little bit of resistance to this movement too. So you can feel the muscles have to work. An active press into the ground. Whatever wave you're on, you're going to finish that wave, and then we're going to go into standing with the dowel. All right, from here, dowel's in left hand. You're going to take a step forward with your right foot, and we're going to do a staggered stance hinge. So the left foot is pretty light behind you. You're on the pads of your feet. Use this dowel for balance, and then let's find the back of your hip. So with everything stacked, pushing through that right foot, I want you to seat yourself into this hip socket. And then you take a second, make sure back foot is light, all your weight's really driving down on that right foot through the center of the heel, and then from here you're going to try to do a segmental cat-cow again. So if you want to, you could grab this dowel with both hands or just have the other hand in your knee, but try arching the lowest segment of your low back. It's going to be a lot more difficult from this position, and see if you can send a wave just as controlled up your spine to the crown of your head, and then subtly tucking your pelvis and rounding segment by segment. So there's a little bit of a twist that's here, where you'll feel that it's a little bit different on one side of your spine versus the other. Try to stay as centered as possible. Move from the tailbone, work your way up. Regardless of if you're flexing or extending, imagine that your spine is really long. You've got a little bit of core tension and you're moving through that tension. And then finish off your wave. When you do, just kind of lengthen up, find straight as best as you can, drive through that foot, come up, and we'll do the other side. So now it's right foot back. Dowel can switch, you can go two hands. I'll show you both versions. Okay, really root through that front foot, push it into the ground and sit into the leg bone or leg bone into the hip. You may feel some tension in the hamstring, maybe not. Now that you're there, lengthen your spine, a little bit of core pressure, and then start that wave from the tailbone up again. You can even start with a really small wave. More than anything, I want you to feel that you have good awareness of where those segments are when you're in this staggered stance hinge. You're essentially just mapping out where all these pieces are in space. And you do want to imagine that somebody at any point could sweep the back leg. There's really no weight on it. It's just there to keep you balanced so you don't have to stabilize on the front foot. Finish off the wave, lengthen, come back up, and we're going to switch feet again. Okay, so dowel pushes through the left hand this time for sure. Come right up over that foot. Feel that the back leg is light. It's just the tips of your toes that are there. And slowly, while actively pushing through the ground, find the best hinge that you can. You can see there's like a subtle knee bend. You're not totally jammed straight, and you're not resting into that quad. Let's go through shoulder cars now. So right hand to knife edge. You're going to start reaching forward and up. While you're doing this, you're pushing very strongly through your right heel and right forefoot through the dowel. When you get into full flexion, rotate your palm away from you. Keep rotating it down, like thumb down, as you push the air back, and pretend there's resistance in the air. Come all the way around till your hand's at your hip, and then go the opposite direction. Pushing that resistance back behind you, opening up through the chest, coming all the way around. Right back to the start position. When you get there, refine anything you need to. Find tension from your core or radiating out through your body, and go through one more. You should feel that this right hamstring is active. as well as that glute as you're pushing into the floor. Once you finish that rep, we'll do another change over to the other side. So dowels in the right. Left foot plants hard into the ground. Barely put your right behind you. It's like only the distance you would take a step, and then hinge into that hip. Find the back corner of your hip socket, find that hamstring, drive through the foot and dowel, and then we're gonna do 2 circles on the left shoulder. Keep lengthening through your spine. Try to stay wide, maybe a little bit lifted in your collarbone. Let's go again with a little bit more tension. So we're going to make sure this joint is well lubricated as well, because we're going to be doing drills to open your chest. Now you can finish that rotation, more or less stay in this position, just get upright, and you are going to put weight on the back leg now. So let's go dowel into the left hand, left foot still in the ground, but I want you to push off the pads of your right foot. So almost like you're getting a calf cramp. Then feel that the top of your hamstring fires the bottom of your glute. It anchors you down, and it really pries open the front of your right hip. So with this open, now you're going to make a fist with your right hand. Squeeze it about 80% tight, get everything 80% tight, and let's go through 2 more rotations again. And see that you can hold that squeeze and that strength right to the outer edge of your mobility, while constantly working to actively open the right hip in the front and push through the pads of that right foot into the ground. Two rotations, you're trying to maintain that tension, and you're picking a consistent speed to move from. Finish off your rotation. We'll do the same thing on the other side. So you can just switch legs, but it's like you're striding. You press actively through the pads of your feet. Squeeze glutes, open up, drive right hand down, left hand's a fist. Let's go again. Try to keep those bottom ribs closed. You can always use a prolonged exhale to help you feel that positioning and that deep ab engagement. You're going to keep your chest facing straight forward. Keep pressing strongly through the pads of your left foot. Once you finish that rotation, we're going to go into tall kneeling. So you can go on a pad or not, but you got to be comfortable on your 2 knees. We're going to keep working to open up the front of your hips. So from here, that same anchoring through the bottom of your glute, top of your hamstrings. Feel like you're prying open and stacking your weight. Then elbows go in line with your shoulders. You can make 2 fists, and we're going to do axial rotation. So one goes externally, one goes internally. What you don't want is your elbows to move. So they got to stay right in line with your shoulders, and you don't want your shoulder blades to move either. So this one is really easy to go a lot further, but feel the top of your arm bone centered in the socket and just rotating in the socket, priming that joint. Now from here, elbow pits are going to go straight forward. Palms are straight forward. You're still opening. Try to rotate your forearms away from each other, point it away as much as you can, and then squeeze your way up into like a bicep cramp. Keep squeezing as you rotate the other way, and then press the air down until your elbows are perfectly straight, and then repeat. And if you look at your 2 elbow pits, they shouldn't be rotating side to side, because that would mean you're rotating from the shoulder. Now you're still actively pressing through your knees and trying to stay really tall and open in the front. When you're down here, you're going to go opposite direction. So palms stay down. You're still trying to rotate internally as you come up and squeeze. You're still squeezing as you externally rotate, and then press. And then we're going to do one more. Nothing else is moving. When you get to the bottom, you can stay in that same position. You're gonna do shoulder blade cars. So try to get your triceps to cramp maybe a little bit, or at least just get them straight so you know you're not cheating with your elbows anywhere. You're up nice and tall. I want you to widen your back. So separate your shoulder blades, breathe into that space. Keep them wide as you lift. Keep lifting as you squeeze them back together and then press them down. So little cheats you're looking for as you keep doing this is elbows bend. So you don't want elbows to bend. You don't really want your hands to be pulling away from you and in front of you. They'll go up and down, but they'll pretty much just slide along your pant seams, and then head and ribs stay still. Let's go opposite direction. So keep trying to tighten through your triceps, keeping elbows locked out. Even if it's a small movement, you're going to try to really get all the movement from shoulder blades gliding along the backs of your ribs. Now from here, back to all fours. We're going to go into your neck, so I want you to really reach the ground away again. Separate those back ribs, get nice and strong. Just a few chin glides or neck glides. So your chin goes forward. You don't have to do that very aggressively. Then you pull your chin back in line with the rest of your body, and you think that it's lengthening the back of your neck. And you do that again. So it's just a chin gliding forward, pulling back, but as you pull back, imagine your spine's getting longer. And the next time you pull and your chin is tucked just slightly, you're going to do the full car. So chin's going to roll into your throat, and you're going to try to bring it down to your collarbone. You're then going to look to the right as you scrape your chin along your collarbone. You're going to try to look over that right shoulder as you side bend, and then avoiding any pinches. You're going to go all the way around at a consistent pace again, getting your chin to the left edge of your collarbone, scraping down to center, reversing directions for one going the opposite way. Once you're back to center, we'll just do hip swivels, just like we did with your shoulder, but now with your hips. Right foot comes off the ground. You can put your left foot flat if you want to. Now, pelvis doesn't move as you rotate that foot across your midline and then away from your midline. Basically taking the top of your leg bone now and just rotating it in the center of the socket. Still actively pushing away. Spine is nice and long. The breath goes into those back ribs. The exhale will very slowly close the front ribs without crunching your sternum down, and that should keep your pelvis more or less still. You might have to do a little pelvic tuck. Foot can go down. Let's do the left side. Same thing exactly. Once you've evened that out, you're going to go into a seated position, like a tall sit. And then from here, we're going to do some hip swivels. So you're in like a 90-90, or basically all your joints are bent about 90 degrees. Use your hands to really make yourself tall, and then feel that you're stacked. And once you are, I want you to rotate towards the left, put that knee down, as the trail leg will then rotate in, and then you should finish front leg bent 90 degrees, rear leg bent 90 degrees, approximately. And then from here, I want you to rotate to face the back leg. Once you do, then you open that knee up. You're still pressing through the ground through your hands, and then just very smoothly go side to side. So just try to maintain the stacked position and breath as you move through the hip sockets with just a mild bit of resistance through the movement. Trying to make sure not to use any momentum. You're constantly trying to push through your sit bones and get nice and tall. And then you're going to go back to center. We're going to go into your knee. So at this point, this left leg can go straight or it can go under you. You're going to go under. You're going to grab your right hamstring with your right forearm. And you're going to lift your foot up. So clasping your hands together, flexing your foot. I want you to rotate your shin bone out to the right, so your toes turn out. And then from here, you're just gonna straighten to wherever you can get to. Then you're gonna rotate internally, and you're gonna keep rotating internally as you flex and press inside of calf to inside of hamstring, and then repeating. You've got tension through the rest of your body, a lot of length, you're still breathing, full breath cycles. And after this second rotation, you're going the opposite direction. So you're gonna drive that knife edge side of your foot up, rotate the shin bone, not move from the foot, squeeze your way down and do one more. Once you're done that second rotation, this left hand can come across and grab your shin. And now that it's got your shin, I don't want it to move side to side, and you're gonna trace an ankle circle. So pick a consistent speed, try to draw the biggest and smoothest circle you can. You might go through some shaky zones, and that's fine. You're doing your best to smooth it out and feel strong at that outer edge. Again, you'll feel these muscles of your shin, just don't move the shin. Let's go the opposite direction. And then the last thing with this leg is you're gonna put that leg straight. You're gonna grab your knee or just frame with your hands. Don't really have to force this or challenge the range. Relax your quad and just see that you have some gliding of your patella so it can move up and down. And side to side. And then we'll go to the left leg. So right leg wherever it's comfortable. Left hand goes under the back of your left knee, clasp, and you really flex your foot up to lock that ankle. Then toes and shin bone turn outwards to the left as you attempt to straighten to wherever you get to. Rotate from just the shin bone and then pull like you're being resisted. Squeeze, continually squeezing while you rotate, continually rotating while you straighten, and then you go again. Go opposite direction. When you're done the second rotation, that right hand can just be a gauge for you as to whether you're moving the shin or not, give you feedback, and then I want you to trace out a circle, reaching to the outer edges of that ankle mobility the whole time, trying to smooth the circle out without this shin bone moving. Let's switch directions. Now from here, this leg goes straight. You gotta have this quad relaxed. And then we're just gonna make sure that this patella can glide, those tissues aren't stuck, not forcing it. Just making sure it's got some movement here. And then side to side. All right, then we're gonna be side lying. So you're gonna be on your left side. And what you're gonna do is a full hip rotation and then rotation through your upper back. If you need a pillow, you can grab something to rest your head. Otherwise, this bottom hand can be your pillow. So to begin with, let's bring knees bent 90 degrees in front of you. Hips are also bent 90 degrees. And then you're gonna do the bow and arrow. So you're rotating through your upper back. I want you to take this top hand, which is the right hand, and reach forward on the floor. Like really reach and peel that shoulder blade off the ribs and breathe in through your nose into that space. And then as you exhale, you're gonna pull your hand back along the floor. It's gonna grab your sternum or your collarbone. It's gonna rotate through your collarbone and sternum, and then you're gonna reach as far away from your backhand as possible and as close to the ground as you can, sighing all that air out so your front ribs come down and you're not shearing forward. And then you just go back at your own pace again. So it's inhale to reach forward, it's inhale into those back ribs, staying nice and tall. You might have to shift your hips back behind your shoulders a bit. It depends how much you rotate. And then the long exhale, sigh, reaching and squeeze your knees together as well. So trying to make sure there's no cheating anywhere else. And you're back and forth. So if your neck is comfortable, you could always put your hands together, or if you've got a pillow, inhaling between your shoulder blades, still staying lifted, not really rounding, getting that reach. Keep spine long. Keep the squeeze between your knees. Pretend you're pulling a string that's got resistance to it. And you reach as far back as you can. When you've finished your next rep, then left hand can stay a pillow, or you can just use your pillow. Right hand is gonna clamp down just above your pelvis, so into your low abs. Now I want you to feel like there's some tension there, some pressure, but also you can feel that your pelvis is not gonna move for this hip rotation. Now that you've got that, you're going to flex your right knee up into your chest. Then you're gonna drive your left knee up to the ceiling along with that ankle. So you're opening up like a big clamshell. Then reach your right foot back behind you, squeeze your glute. And this is where you're gonna really hang onto your pelvis to feel if there's any movement, any extension or opening through the front of your ribs and pelvis. You come all the way down, sweep the floor, come across your left knee again, and let's do another rotation in that same direction. So that right hand of yours is telling you if you can maintain a little bit of core pressure and engagement and alignment of your pelvis while you move through just the hip socket. When you finish your second rep, now you're going to go the opposite direction. So now you're kicking that heel back, squeezing through the glute, not opening up through the front, so be mindful of your pelvis. Now lift your ankle and knee as high as you can get. Feel the side of your glute work, and then foot rotates under. You come around, and you do another rep. When you finish that second rotation, we'll switch sides. So you're on your right side, hips are bent 90 degrees, your knees are bent 90 degrees right in front of you. You gotta be comfortable with your head, and then you might just have to shift your hips back a tiny bit. From here, it's inhale to reach. Inhale deeply, feel that shoulder blade wrap around your rib cage and stretch in that area, and then it's exhale for a long time, a prolonged exhale, bringing those ribs down, keeping your knees squeezing together, so you're just rotating through your ribs and upper back as you go behind you. And then when you finish your exhale fully, that's when you're going to inhale and reach forward again. We'll do one more rep, and then we're going to set up for the full hip rotation. Now from here, whatever position's comfortable, this hand can give you good feedback though, so if you put it just above your pelvis and squeeze and feel that there's tension on both ends, hold that tension and tension in the rest of your body. Flex left knee up and into chest. Keep flexing into the chest while you open up to the side, rotating in that hip and reaching back. So 2 reps in that direction, 2 in the opposite direction. Shouldn't feel any rolling forward or back of your body either. So that right hip that's in the ground should stay motionless and in the same spot with the same pressure on the ground. Once you finish your second rep, you're then going to roll onto your back. Okay, so for this one, we're going to really try to open up those back ribs a little bit more so we can like breathe into that space. What I want you to do is just get your position first by tucking your pelvis a little bit and then doing that extended exhale to get those bottom ribs to close without your sternum aggressively pulling down. And what you don't want to feel is you don't want to feel a bulge down your center line or even any working down your center line. You want to feel the sides of your body, your torso, where your obliques are, your internal obliques, and then even a bit of a closing of your pelvis on that exhale. So you do your best to maintain that little bit of core tension as you're breathing in and out. And now what I want you to do is reach your palms to the ceiling, but with your elbows a little bent and your fingertips facing each other. So it's like you're really opening up through your upper back. Take a couple breaths here, and then the motion is you reach with one hand, but not through the shoulder socket, not jamming up, but really peeling that shoulder blade off the ribs and then rotating through those ribs maybe a little bit to come across and then back to center and then reach with the other hand. So you want to feel when you're doing this that it's almost like your shoulder blade lifts up a little bit and then across, pulls on the skin and the muscles and separates those ribs as you just go side to side, creating some opening in that space. Full breaths. You can even think that it's pulling from those bottom ribs, the bottom back ribs, and really expanding in that area. Think of reaching with your elbow first maybe, and then peeling the shoulder blade across. As you continue to do this, it feels good. Sometimes you might get into a position where you over round your upper back and you really crunch, and you'll feel that if you feel like your chin is like jetting forward to the ceiling. So take a second to reset. Make sure you're not cheating this movement. You just have a subtle curve of your back, and you keep prying some space open. Again, it should just feel really good. It should be creating some looseness in that upper back and no compression or pinching in the front of your shoulder anywhere. Your shoulder is almost stuck in the socket, is how you should imagine it. Nice. Even out your sides, and then we're going to go into Seiza. So kind of sitting hips to heels. You can go feet flexed, feet straight or feet flexed, and you can put something under your heels if you want, whatever position's comfortable. If your knees really don't like this position, then you can rock forward, and instead of being quadruped, you're just in like a bit of a compressed quadruped. Okay, so now that we're here, we're gonna try to open up your back a little bit more. Think of creating some length, feel your sit bones, and then your upper back is gonna glide back behind you as your shoulder blades separate, and then it's gonna glide forward, like you create a lift as you extend. So your head almost stays in the same spot in space. Your head doesn't really move, it's your upper back and shoulder blades that are moving. When your upper back sternum goes forward, your shoulder blades will naturally go together, closer. When it goes back, it'll naturally peel open, and you just go side to side. Now, the next time you've retracted your rib cage, like you've pushed it back and you've protracted your shoulder blades, you're gonna hold that position and you're gonna breathe into your back. So now when you breathe in through your nose, breathe into those back ribs and separate them and separate your shoulder blades. And as you exhale, it's that long sigh, which just takes those bottom ribs and just anchors them and maybe squeezes them a little bit and squeezes your pelvis. You hold a little bit of that ab engagement that you just got so that your next inhale separates your shoulder blades more and fills up like a balloon through those back ribs and back low ribs. Now with the movement there, or some extra movement there, we're gonna go the other way. I want you to extend, like think collarbone lifts, and then you just extend forward, or just feel the backs of your ribs maybe come together and the muscles along your spine basically activate. And once you've got that with a long neck, you're doing the same thing. I want you to breathe in. Imagine you're breathing big into your collarbones, maybe like into your armpits. And then as you exhale, just squeeze the muscles on your back, or think that your chin is going back a little bit further. You're lengthening your spine more. You want to feel like an equal engagement. And you're going to cycle your breath here now. So inhale deep through your nose. Exhale, try to maintain your length of your sternum while those ribs will just naturally close again. And then relax. Okay, so then we're going to open up more through your upper back. We're going to go onto like a bench or a chair or like a couch or anything, and you're going to go into this extended upper back position, flex shoulder position. There's two versions. There's prayer position, where it doesn't take as much on the shoulder as you rock into it. But if you've got a dowel, you can also hold the dowel so that your palms are facing you. So you're going to set up on the box, and elbows will be on the box. You have to make sure you're not going to tuck your pelvis, or tip your pelvis too far. And then from here, you're going to be in a rounded position as you inhale through your nose into those back ribs. And then as you exhale, you're going to sink your hips back, and you're going to open up through your upper back. And then I want you to reach the very end of your exhale, and then you're going to inhale, come back up, fill those upper ribs. You might even round a little bit, and then as you exhale, you're going to go back down. So when you're inhaling, you're in a little bit of flexion, but you're really coming out of the stretch. When you're exhaling, you're extending. The important thing is that you don't have a pinch on the front of your shoulder anywhere. And if you do, I mean, you can just avoid it, but you can try different positions. You can try reaching your elbows further away from you. You could try maybe depressing, see if either of those things help. If you've got the dowel, maybe get rid of the dowel and go into the prayer position. And then you want a little bit of engagement in your core, so your pelvis might be tucked a little bit, and then back doesn't sag. Yeah, without really aggressively rounding, just try to keep ribs and pelvis together. And then the next time you go down, you're going to hold that position. So head is nice and straight. You want to feel like your upper back is pressing down with a little tuck of your pelvis, and you're just going to breathe into that position. And then again, there's no pinching in the front of your shoulders. And then we're just going to do some contractions there. So right now your tricep lats are long, your upper back is being opened. To resist this, start with a little bit of core tension. Be very gentle with it, but just press your elbows down into whatever it is your elbows are on. And you might feel some tension globally through here, hopefully not right in your shoulder capsule. And then imagine you're also just about to round your upper back, but without actually doing it. Just the muscles that would round your upper back, and hold. And now, the same way you very delicately turned up the tension, I want you to relax it back down. See if you can sink into that stretch a bit more, create some more opening. So you have this straighter position and some strength there. And now do the opposite. Be careful again. Think of becoming light on your elbows. Like you're trying to lift your elbows off the box. You're also going to try to flex your biceps, so you open up through the triceps a little bit more. And you're going to try to really lengthen through your spine and press your sternum down to the floor, keeping pelvis tucked, a bit of core engagement. That's probably long enough. Then you can slowly relax, sink into it. Go through one deep breath cycle. And then you can fully and slowly come out of it. So really push through your knees, not too hard through your elbows. Come out. And then we're going to go back into tall kneeling. So you can again grab a pad for your knees. If you have anything to squeeze between your knees too, you can do that. And so we're going to be feet flexed, if possible, into a tall kneeling position. We're going to do the full range of motion through all planes of your rib cage and upper back. So let's start with a really big hug. And separate your shoulder blades, so you're open through the front of your hips, you're squeezing together. Now breathe in to that space you've just created in between your shoulder blades. Exhale, close those front ribs, these two ribs here. And then the next time you start to breathe in, you're going to flex your way down. Or you can do this as you're breathing out, but you're going to just try to do it from the base of your neck just down to the lowest rib. Try not to round your low back, definitely not flexing through your hip. So stay here, rounded. See that you've created a bit more space to breathe into your back ribs. Now while staying rounded, you're gonna twist to the right. So it's like a golf or baseball swing. You're twisting, but you haven't come up out of that flex position. Once you can't twist anymore, you're then gonna side bend, which means your right shoulder is gonna drop and your left shoulder is gonna lift, but really you're separating the left ribs. And this position I want you to hold. So you're flexed, you're twisted to the right, and you're side bent to the right, and breathe. So breathe in through your nose and really feel it expand and fill up behind your left shoulder blade in those back ribs. Now start to lengthen your spine to come up, even arching a little bit, nice and open through the front line, which we worked on. Then you twist left. Keep twisted as you side bend left. And then flex your way down. Come all the way to center. And then stack your spine so you're up to standing again. And then you're going to switch arms and go the other way. So glutes are still tight, you're open through your hips, you're not moving from this point down. You've got your arms the other way. Control a segmental flexion from the base of your neck to your lowest rib. Feel that open up. Breathe into that space. Begin a rotation to the left, a twist to the left while staying flexed. So it's a twist, not a side bend. When you can't twist anymore, then you're going to start to open up the right ribs by shrinking the left ribs. And this is what I want you to hold. So you're flexed. Twisted left, side bent left. Breathe space into your right ribs. Exhale space out of your left ribs. And then you finish the full rotation by stacking and extending, twisting to the right. Trying not to move your pelvis. Side bending right and coming all the way around to the flex position and then rolling your way up. Now, once you're straight, so that's it for your ribs and for your shoulder blades mostly. We're gonna go into your chest now. So let's go right leg forward, left knee on a pad or down. And then you've got this dowel that you're going to use to basically stretch through this line here on your right side. So you have to be a bit careful with the dowel that you don't feel like you're pulling into this shoulder and getting really behind you or excessively externally rotating. Basically, you'll know if it feels vulnerable in that shoulder and you don't want it to. So glutes engaged on the left, core's engaged, and then you got to find your angle where this stretch feels good and it feels global through this whole area. So it's not directly overhead, but it might be pretty close. Might be out to the side somewhere. You might have a slightly bent elbow. I'm going to go into this position. And this hand is just very gently helping the stretch. And now I just want you to breathe in this position. So you're breathing air into this right side. You're exhaling, again, a long exhale, which helps you relax, but simultaneously will bring those ribs down if they're starting to flare. Just think of breathing in for about 4 seconds if you can through your nose, and then a prolonged 6 to 8 second exhale. Now we're going to do contractions. So pails and rails. I want you to get more core tension, more glute tension, every muscle's firing, and think that you're squishing the dowel together. You're trying to break it. Or you can think that this hand is trying to stretch you further, but that hand is resisting. If that shoots that sensation right into the capsule, then that's not good. You want to start very slow and feel it ramp up. And you might even have to change positions a little bit. Once it ramps up to whatever feels safest, you're going to hold that tension. You're going to breathe through it. And then you're very slowly going to relax that tension. And now going the other way, you've still got glute engagement, core engagement. Imagine you're trying to rip the dowel apart, or you're squeezing your shoulder blade back behind you, and you're gonna keep squeezing back. And so everything, all those short tissues on the back are pulling your shoulder blade across to open up more through the front. Slowly relax that effort. Good, then you're going to put this dowel down, and let's just do one shoulder car to kind of like map out that range or connect it to the full rotation. So just a light level, but a consistent effort through the full rotation. And then right here is what we were opening, so you can even slow it down, stay open through your chest, come all the way across. And when you're done, we'll do the same on the other side. So get a good stacked position down onto that right knee. Lengthen. Find a line of tension that works for you, that's not, doesn't feel vulnerable in that left shoulder capsule. Once you have it, you're going to breathe through it. So deep nasal breath in. Imagine that line lengthening as you breathe in. A long, relaxed exhale. Twice as long as it took to inhale if you can. Now let's start with some core tension. So you breathe into your belly as you exhale. You think you're packing that air into your belly and leaving it there. Right glute is tight. Every other muscle is engaged to help you. And then gently resist this stretch. Pushing down onto the roller, trying to squish the roller or the dowel together. Find a good amount of tension that feels safe, and then hold. You can even play with the rotation of your shoulder socket a little bit, like you could externally rotate, internally rotate, whatever feels like it's plugged into the shoulder socket. So nothing's happening at the shoulder, it's happening through the chest. Slowly turn down that tension, holding core tension and glute tension though, and body tension. And then now try to rip the dowel apart. Try to squeeze your left shoulder blade around your back, but really try to lengthen through this line, actively lengthening. Slowly relax that effort. All right, now, dowel goes into your right hand, presses into the ground, get nice and tall, and let's do a full shoulder rotation on the left. So you're open through your right hip, and you're moving through the biggest range, biggest, smoothest range you've got through your left shoulder. Nice, and relax. Okay, so you're gonna be lying on your left side again. We're gonna do full windmills into what's called a bretzel. But basically, I'll show you from the side. You're gonna have both knees together, and instead of doing the bow and arrow we did, you're gonna do a full windmill all the way around, and you're gonna go through this open chest position. After we do a few reps, this back hand is gonna try to grab that foot, and this hand is gonna grab this knee, so you're twisting through your upper back, and you're opening through this quad and hip flexor. So you're gonna lay on your left side. Definitely grab a pillow if you have one. Okay, so knees are together for this. You could go knees together or left leg straight. We'll start with knees together. And you're gonna have a bit of a squeeze here. You're gonna lengthen. This time the top hand, which is the right hand, is gonna reach forward as you breathe into those back ribs, and then it's gonna sweep over your head. You're gonna turn your palm to the ceiling, opening up through your chest the same way as you did with the dowel stretch. You're gonna come all the way around until your hand touches your hip, and then you're gonna reach back, and you're gonna go all the way to the starting position and repeating. So try to keep an active squeeze of these two legs together. Try to get to your full breath cycle, so deep inhales to create some space in your upper back, long exhales to help those front ribs come down. If you need to shift your hips behind your shoulders to make sure you're a straight line when you're rotated, you're gonna do that. And then you're gonna keep your arms straight at the elbow the whole time, even though I'm bending a little bit because of space here. And the next time you come back to the starting position, you're gonna stay there for a second with your hands together. And so what you're gonna do is the bottom hand, which is the left hand, is gonna grab under your right knee, which is the top knee. And then your left leg is gonna go straight on the ground. Now from here, you're gonna do a big windmill. And when you get to the end, you're going to try to grab your bottom foot. So you might have to sit up, flex that hip a little bit, grab that foot, and then peel open and rotate, and you're gonna stay in this position and breathe. So now that you're here, and do your best to make sure the top leg, which is the right leg, is being pulled up higher than your hip to prevent too much rotation through your low back. And now the tension in your chest is helping to open that quad and hip flexor in the back. So think of your hip driving forward, your quad stretching open, but then simultaneously the tension in your quad and hip flexor is opening up through your collarbone and back. So you can think of your collarbone flattening, your eyes can look up if you're that rotated so they can be nice and straight. And then that back hand is trying to slide your knee back behind you to open up in that hip flexor. And you're taking those same deep breaths. Make sure it doesn't feel vulnerable in your low back. You're really doing your best to get rotation through your upper back, opening or extension in the bottom hip, and it's this full spiral pattern. Now, if you want to add a little resistance here, let's just create a bit of core tension again. And that bottom leg, I want it to kick into your hand. So imagine you're trying to kick out. And what that's going to do is also try to rotate you out. So just create a little tension there. You can even think of this top knee driving down. Basically, it's like someone put you in the stretch position and you're trying to get out. Hold that light bit of tension. And then relax fully. See if you can open up even more. Take one really deep breath, and then we'll switch sides. So then, when you're ready, we're going to set up on the right side. So try to go knees in line with your hips at 90 degrees, even maybe a tiny bit higher. Hips back behind you to give you room to rotate. Now, this top hand reaches, it sweeps the floor as big as you can and goes all the way around into where you were stretching your chest with the dowel, but it continues, makes it to your hip, and then repeats. Squeeze your knees together. Make sure the top knee is not starting to slide back, because then you'd be moving through your pelvis. So they should stay stacked as you do that rotation. While you're doing that, imagine your spine is nice and long. You're still breathing into your rib cage. Knees are right in front of hips, in line with hips. Good, so everything's bent 90 degrees, hips are back. And as you're rotating behind you, it's not just a shoulder rotation. You're also moving through your chest, and you can rotate through your upper back. Like you can really turn your whole rib cage and ribs individually towards the ground. The next time you set up where your hands are together again, like so you're back at the starting position, we're gonna do the same thing we did on the other side. So that means the bottom leg, which is the right one, goes straight. Top leg, you're gonna grab with the bottom hand, and you can see that I can even hold it above my hip, and I can also hold it off the ground or get a block or something. Now you're gonna do one more windmill again, and I think of reaching this right heel long away from me, my head really long. You do the full windmill. If you can't grab your foot, you can flex, bend. But once you do grab it, try to pin that foot open through the front of your right hip flexor and let it peel your chest open. Also, if you can, grab your hand so it's palm up, so you're a little bit more open through your chest, and then you're gonna hold this position. And you're gonna breathe into it. And try to match the effort, or at least like the sensation of stretching throughout. So feel like it's equally stretched through the front of your quad and hip flexor as it is rotating through your upper back. And then when you breathe in, you're really learning to fill up in that position. And then fully exhale. So you want to see if even under this kind of like compressed, twisted position, if you can still cycle full breath cycles. So do another full breath, relax. We're going to introduce some tension. So start with core tension. Feel it irradiate through your body. And now it's like you're trying to resist this stretch. So that bottom foot, it's going to kick into your hand. You're going to feel your quad fire. You can even try to lift that top knee up more and have that top knee resist. You can think of trying to untwist your upper back. So everything's trying to untwist. But because you're all blocked up and holding yourself, it's resisted. Just to a light degree is fine. Keep holding it. And then on your next exhale, it's a prolonged exhale again, and let everything relax and melt open. Hopefully that hip opens up a bit more, maybe a bit more rotation through your upper back. Take one really deep breath. And then slowly unwind. Now, the next thing we're gonna do is you're gonna grab your tennis ball. This definitely works better in a door frame, so if you have it, that's what you're gonna do. We're gonna do some soft tissue work right in your pec, basically below your shoulder. Sometimes if you even dig your hand in and you rub there, you can feel there's something like ropey or tight. So yeah, if you have a door frame and you can put in the door frame, that's what you're gonna do. We're just gonna do it on the floor. So you're gonna put it in your pec, and I want you to sink into that position with the tennis ball. Make sure you're relaxed everywhere else. Find that ropey, tense spot or maybe a dull ache and just melt into it. So this first part, and you gotta take whatever position with your body gets you some pressure on there. Like I said, with a door frame, you can go up and it's a lot more comfortable. But when you're on the ground, you end up having to just roll onto it. Now, when you're breathing into the ball and you're doing a prolonged exhale, seeing if those tissues can really relax and that ball can melt into you. Now we're going to try to ramp tension up. So keeping the rest of your body relaxed, I want you to just contract just the tissues there. So feel them contract like a 1 out of 10. They're starting to swell into the ball, and then a little bit more and a little bit more, and you're building. And building to your greatest contraction. So now it's almost like stone and you're holding it. And then with just as much care and attention, you're going to relax now. So now you're down to like a 9 out of 10, 8, 7, and see if those tissues, not only can they relax, but can you control them on that whole like spectrum from full tension to full relaxation, right down to 0. Maybe more relaxed than when you started. Take another deep breath, melt into it. And then let's go to the other side. So you can feel that area. Make sure it's not right in your shoulder. Make sure it's not making your fingertips numb or anything either. You're gonna get it right into your pec. If you're in a door frame, you can like just have your hand out or right up. Whatever gets you comfortably into that area with some pressure. And then once you find it, and maybe you have that dull ache as well, then you're just seeing if you can relax your nervous system a little bit. You can relax these tissues. Just feel things like down-regulate and sink into it. So sometimes harder is not better. Sometimes you dig in so hard, you'll end up naturally resisting. Find what level tension, just gives you some feedback as to how much basically like chronic tension there is at that spot. Now what I want you to do is we're going to turn that dial of tension up again. So just contract or swell into the ball and slowly have it swell in a little bit more and more as you work your way from a 0 out of 10 effort all the way to greatest safest feeling effort, and then hold that tension. Like you created a spasm there. Keep holding. And then down to a 9 out of 10, 8, 7, and very carefully, slowly and controlled, relaxing all the way down to 0. Let that ball sink in. Take at least one more deep breath in that position. And then now we're just going to finish with breath work. So let's take whatever position's comfortable. You can lay on your back, legs straight, or knees bent. You can sit cross-legged, or you can sit back in seiza, the Japanese sit. So what we're going to do for today is we're going to do max exhales, and then we're going to do a relaxed inhale. So when you're doing a max exhale, those ribs will close, but really you're stretching out your diaphragm. So you don't need to be very aggressive with this. A very prolonged, slow exhale that gets your diaphragm to fully stretch, but so stretched that when you relax, it'll spring back or whip back like an elastic, and you'll naturally breathe in. So you can even do a practice one right now where you breathe out as much as you can. Hold your breath. Try to breathe out more. Hold your breath. Try to breathe out more. And now relax. And it just will spring back and fill you up. Okay, let's do that all together. So big breath in. Max breath out. Really try to empty. You're fogging up that glass for as long as possible, then a little bit longer, a little bit more. Relax. Max breath out. Ribs will go together and down. Belly button will kind of squeeze the spine a bit as pelvis closes. Relax. Full breath out. Relax. Let's do 2 more. Full breath out. Relax. 1 more. Full breath out. And then you're going to relax to a full breath in. So keep breathing in. Fill up at your pelvis. Keep breathing in. Fill up at your belly. Fill your ribs up. Fill your chest up. Just don't get into your neck, even in your armpits. Really fill up in your back where we worked. And then you're going to hold your breath. So you're going to hold your breath as if you're this giant expanded balloon in all directions. You can even think of maybe trying to breathe in a little bit more while you're in that position. Keep everything else calm. But while you're here, it should feel like all your ribs are separating from each other and then just moving out in all directions. You're nice and long, collarbones wide. You've got no tension in your neck. And you're going to hold this position of expansion where your diaphragm's fully contracted. When you have to breathe, then you're just going to go back to normal nasal breathing, in and out. Otherwise, we're going to keep holding here for about 10 more seconds. You can either keep holding or just relax now. Let that air out. Stay in that position. Take a few full cycles, maybe 3 to 5 full cycles of nasal breaths in and out. And then you're done.